It's about that time. Time to go back to the laboratory. Movies 150 to 101. Okay, starting off at 150, Last of the Mohicans, 7.6 IMDb. The last members of a dying Native American tribe, the Mohicans. Uncas and his father and his adopted half-white brother Hawkeye, Daniel Day-Lewis, live in peace alongside British colonists. But when the daughters of a British colonel are kidnapped by a traitorous scout, Hawkeye and Uncas must rescue them in a crossfire of a gruesome military conflict of which they wanted no part, the French and Indian War. I think that's a good explanation. I mean, everyone is in motion. The French Indian War was the French and the British battling, and they had different Indian tribes on each of their sides, and everyone's in constant motion in this movie. So it's just you just got to watch the story. Otherwise, I would give it away. It's a cinematography like just incredible. Obviously, you got Daniel Day Lewis in it. I mean, excuse me. It's really good. Coming in at 149, 300, 7.6 IMDb. In 480 BC, a state of war exists between Persia, led by King Xerxes, and Greece. At the Battle of Thermopylae, Leonidas, king of the Greek city-state of Sparta, leads his badly outnumbered warriors against the massive Persian army. It's been a while since I've seen this one. Little help from AI here. 300 is considered a good movie by many due to its visually striking style, intense action sequences, and compelling portrayal of a small group of warriors facing overwhelming odds. The film's unique visual aesthetic, blending live action with CGI and comic book inspired imagery, creates a stylized and memorable cinematic experience. The intense slow motion fight scenes, along with the focus on the Spartans' unwavering courage and dedication to their ideals, contribute to its popularity. So, long story short, it's just an action movie done really well in a unique way. 148, Jackie Brown, 7.5 IMDb. Let me read a little bit here without giving it away. Jackie Brown, Pam Grier, is a flight attendant who supplements her income by smuggling money for a ruthless arms dealer named Ordell Robbie Samuel L. Jackson. When she gets caught by the ATF and a local detective, they pressure her to help them catch Ordell. Caught between the law and a dangerous criminal, Jackie must find a way to navigate this tricky situation and secure her own future. She forms an alliance with the compassionate bail bondsman Max Cherry, who develops feelings for her. So, yeah, this is a Tarantino movie, but he took it from the book Rum Punch, written by Elmore Leonard. This is a slower paced movie, but if it's possible, it's like 2.5 hours long. For it being so slow paced, it's still pretty intense, if that makes any sense. 147, Conan the Barbarian, Arnold Schwarzenegger, 6.9 IMDb, which is a travesty. Orphan boy Conan is enslaved after his village is destroyed by the forces of vicious necromancer Thulsa Doom, and is compelled to push the wheel of pain for many years. Once he reaches adulthood, Conan sets off across the prehistoric landscape of the Hyborian Age in search of the man who killed his family and stole his father's sword. With beautiful warrior Valeria and an archer, he faces a supernatural evil. Let's not overthink this. Let's not reinvent the wheel. Schwarzenegger, back in the old times, they call it the Hyborian Age, jacked with a sword, going on adventures. Wilt Chamberlain, no need to overthink it. 46, Once Upon a Time in America, 8.3 IMDb. This movie is, I thought it was older, 1984. Sergio Leone, director. In 1968, the elderly David Noodles Aronson, Robert De Niro, returns to New York, where he had a career in the criminal underground in the 20s and 30s. Most of his old friends, like longtime partner Max James Woods, are long gone, yet he feels his past is unresolved. Told in flashbacks, the film follows Noodles from a tough kid in a Jewish slum in New York's Lower East Side through his rise to bootlegger and then mafia boss, a journey marked by violence, betrayal, and remorse. I'm going to try to freestyle on this a little bit. This is an incredible movie. I think it's like almost 4 hours long. Watched it a few years ago. The ending, I'm just reading here about the ending. I never really read about the ending. The ending was a little confusing to me, but now after reading about it, I'm more okay with the ending on the movie. but just didn't. First Instinct, I didn't love the ending, but it's just Americana at its best. I mean, it's yeah, this movie, you don't ever hear this movie talked about. It just is it's incredible. Like it really is. It's you may not love the ending, but so maybe it's not incredible, but yeah, it's must watch TV. 145 Man on Fire, 7.7 IMDb, Denzel. Think about this movie. Well, I'll tell you after I read about it. In a Mexico City racked by a recent wave of kidnappings, ex-CIA operative John Creasy reluctantly accepts a job as a bodyguard for a 9-year-old Lupita, the daughter of wealthy businessman Samuel Ramos. Just as Creasy begins to develop a fondness for the young girl, a bloodthirsty gunman kidnaps her. It's been a while since I've seen this. I don't remember it very well. I know, like, people love this movie. It's, think of Equalizer, but quite a bit better. Like, more realistic action. And is this Denzel's best action movie? I haven't seen this second Gladiator. I need to watch that. But this is, give me a second here. Yeah. So yeah, I would say this is his second or third best action movie. So it's, yeah, really good. Okay, 144, Napoleon Dynamite, only a 7.0 IMDb. In small-town Preston, Idaho, awkward teen Napoleon Dynamite has trouble fitting in. After his grandmother is injured in an accident, his life is made even worse when his strangely nostalgic uncle Rico shows up to keep an eye on him. With no safe haven at home or at school, Napoleon befriends the new kid Pedro, a morose Hispanic boy who speaks with little English. Together, the two launch a campaign to run for class president. Yeah, the thing is, this comedy, I mean, it's the characters, like Napoleon's brother, and then Rico, and then Napoleon himself. All three of them are just so funny. It just is easy to watch movie, and it's hilarious, man. It's just, I mean, that's all I can say. 143, 13 Assassins, 7.5 IMDb. In this remake of the 1963 film based on historical events, Senzaiman Shimada leads a team of assassins in 19th century Japan to eliminate the ruthless Lord Naratsugu, who is wreaking havoc against his own people. Hired secretly by a government official hoping to end Naratsugu's reign of terror, Shimada recruits the best samurai in Japan and then sets a trap for the Lord's large contingent of faithful bodyguards. Let me freestyle again. This is action done right. I'm picky, very picky with action, but I could see someone rating this higher. This is incredible action, sword fighting. It's there's more, obviously more to it than that. A great story and just super cool movie. 142, Scarface, ladies and gentlemen, 8.3 IMDb. After getting a green card in exchange for assassinating a Cuban government official, Tony Montana stakes a claim on the drug trade in Miami, viciously murdering anyone who stands in his way. Tony eventually becomes the biggest drug lord in the state, controlling nearly all the cocaine that comes through Miami. But increased pressure from the police, wars with Colombian drug cartels, and his own drug-fueled paranoia serve to fuel the flames. Okay, freestyling again. Been a while since I've seen this. I should probably have it rated higher. It's a pretty dark movie. It's trying to remember. It's really good. It's really good. I don't know, a lot of action, but there is obviously more to it than that. But it's an incredible movie. I'm not going to nitpick on this movie. 141, Basic Instinct, 7.1 IMDb. The mysterious Catherine Trammell, a beautiful crime novelist, becomes a suspect when she is linked to the brutal death of a rock star, investigated by homicide detective Nick Curran. Catherine seduces him into an intense relationship. Meanwhile, the murder case becomes increasingly complicated when more seemingly connected deaths occur, and Nick's psychologist and lover, Beth Garner, appear to be another suspect. I know what you're thinking. I know what you're thinking on why I have it rated so high. Get your mind out of the gutter. Other than that, it's incredible. Like the 3D chess that Sharon Stone is playing throughout the movie, it's crime slash thriller type of movie. Like it's one of the best there is. Michael Douglas is in the movie. It's an incredible movie. Okay, number 140, The Counselor, 5.4 IMDb. I don't even know what to say about that. A Bentley driving Texas lawyer, Michael Fassbender, appears to have it all, including a beautiful fiancée named Laura, Penelope Cruz, but his financial needs force him to become involved in an ill-advised drug deal. His partners in the venture include middlemen Westray, Brad Pitt, shady nightclub owner Reiner, and McKenna, Cameron Diaz, Reiner's sociopathic lover. Unsurprisingly, the counselor's deal spirals out of control, placing both him and Laura in mortal danger. So on this movie, I don't want to give anything away, but it's different in that a lot of the characters, like they realize they're in too deep, and it kind of shows how, yeah, they can have all these realizations, but they can't really do anything about it. Okay, Vanilla Sky 139. It's a mind-bending psychological thriller about a wealthy playboy, David Ames, who experiences a disfiguring car accident and descends into a surreal state of dreams and reality confusion. The film explores themes of love, identity, and the blurring lines between consciousness and the subconscious. I hardly remember anything about this movie. I just remember Cruz and Cameron Diaz. Like the acting is like incredible, and it's a very intense movie, and I definitely need to rewatch this. I think this is a good rating, though. I know a lot of people that love this movie. 138, Taxi Driver, 8.2 IMDb. Scorsese film. Suffering from insomnia, disturbed loner Travis Bickle De Niro takes a job as a New York City cabbie, haunting the streets nightly, growing increasingly detached from reality as he dreams of cleaning up the filthy city. When Travis meets pretty campaign worker Betsy Sybil Shepherd, he becomes obsessed with the idea of saving the world. First plotting to assassinate a presidential candidate, then directing the attentions towards rescuing 12-year-old prostitute Iris Jodie Foster. So this movie, I didn't like the first over half of the movie, and then the end of the movie was crazy, incredible. So it's I think it kind of, I think he has just a couple what seem like normal chit chat conversations with coworkers, but I think the director might have taken from the philosophy of Sartre's Bad Faith, that where you are the philosophy, the existentialist that said you are condemned to be free. So it's kind of like the butterfly effect with this movie. 137, Minority Report, 7.6 IMDb, Spielberg movie, based on a story by famed science fiction writer Philip K. Dick. Minority Reporter is an action detective thriller set in Washington, D.C. in 2054, where police utilize a psychic technology to arrest and convict murderers before they commit their crime. Tom Cruise plays the head of this pre-crime unit and is himself accused of the future murder of a man he hasn't even met. The plot is so deep and there's so much to the movie that even what I read to you, I didn't really hardly give anything away. So it's, needless to say, phenomenal movie. 136, Deer Hunter, 8.1. In 1968, Michael De Niro, Nick, Christopher Walken, and Stephen, John Savage, lifelong friends from a working-class Pennsylvania steel town, prepare to ship out overseas following Stephen's elaborate wedding and one final group hunting trip. In Vietnam, their dreams of military honor are quickly shattered by the inhumanities of war. Even those who survive are haunted by the experience, as is Nick's hometown sweetheart, Linda, Meryl Streep. Deer Hunter, 3-hour movie, hard to explain. Little help here from AI with the sentence. It effectively contrasts the pre-war lives of its characters with the devastating aftermath of the conflict, exploring themes of friendship, trauma, and the loss of innocence. Another thing I would add, it just shows how people respond differently to war. Some people get more PTSD than others, but that's kind of a crude way to explain it. But it's emotional movie and a very good movie. 135, 310 to Yuma, 7.6 IMDb. Outlaw Ben Wade, Russell Crowe, terrorizes 1800s Arizona, especially the Southern Railroad, until he's finally captured. Wade must be brought to trial, so Dan Evans, Christian Bale, the owner of a drought-stricken ranch, volunteers to escort him to the train. Along the trail, a grudging respect forms between the men, but danger looms at every turn, and the criminal's men are in pursuit. What can I say? A Western with 2 top 10 actors and a great story. I mean, it's makes it a top movie. Coming in at 134, we have The Machinist, 7.6 IMDb. Factory worker Trevor Resnick, Christian Bale, suffers from insomnia so severe that his condition has taken its toll on his weight and his mental health. When Trevor unintentionally causes an on-the-job accident that horribly injures a co-worker, he begins to become even more troubled despite a relationship with Stevie, Jennifer Jason Leigh, a pretty prostitute. Trevor descends further into paranoia, blaming his problems on an enigmatic figure named Ivan. I really can't say anything else other than it's a great thriller mystery movie. 133, Step Brothers, 6.9 IMDb. Brennan Huff, Will Ferrell, and Dale Doback, John C. Reilly have one thing in common. They are both lazy, unemployed leeches who still live with their parents. When Brennan's mother and Dale's father marry and move in together, it turns the overgrown boy's world upside down. Their insane rivalry and narcissism pull the new family apart, forcing them to work together to reunite their parents. So do you remember how I said a lot of Will Ferrell's movies, I don't believe he's that guy. I believe he is this guy. And John C. Reilly's not the best actor either, but I believe John C. Reilly is this guy. So absolutely classic comedy. Don't know what else to say. Probably shouldn't be rated this high, but I gotta grade the sports movies and the comedies a little bit on a curve. 132, We Were Soldiers, 7.2 IMDb, based upon the best-selling book We Were Soldiers Once, Anne Young, by Lieutenant General Harold G. Moore, retired, and journalist Joseph L. Galloway. Compelling war drama depicts the true story of the first major battle between the United States and North Vietnamese forces. It is a film about uncommon valor and nobility under fire, loyalty among soldiers, and the heroism and sacrifice of men and women both home and abroad. It's been a long time since I've seen this movie, but I remember it being incredible. Like, the battles were very realistic. And another thing I would say, sometimes I think Mel Gibson is overrated in certain roles, but then other movies he's like underrated. So like he was like incredible in this movie, but great war movie. 131, The King, 2019 Netflix movie, 7.3 IMDb. Young Henry V encounters deceit, war, and treachery after becoming King of England in the 15th century in the aftermath of his brother's death. Watched this not too long ago. 3 things stand out, I would say. Cinematography is incredible. Also, the way it shows the king, how he doesn't know who to trust, like that's makes it very intriguing. And then like the actual battles, especially the catapults, it's like it's fire, man. It's super cool. 130, Lincoln, 7.3 IMDb, Daniel Day-Lewis. With the nation embroiled in still another year with the high death count of civil war, President Abraham Lincoln brings the full measure of his passion, humanity, and political skill to what would become his defining legacy. End the war and permanently abolish slavery through the 13th Amendment. Having great courage, acumen, and moral fortitude, Lincoln pushes forward to compel the nation and those in government who oppose him to aim toward a greater good for all mankind. Freestyling on this movie, watched it about a year ago. It just shows how tough it was to live in that time period. And another thing is, you realize how many people did not want to end that war. And not only that, like the 3D chess that Lincoln had to play like for months and months to actually finagle it, to actually end the war, it's incredible. So it's just Daniel Day-Lewis at his best. It's incredible. 129, U-571, 6.6 IMDb. When a German U-571 submarine with a sophisticated encryption machine on board is sunk during a World War II battle at sea, the Allies sent an American Navy force, led by Lieutenant Andrew Tyler, Matthew McConaughey, to retrieve it for study. You know, explaining why this is really good, the underwater combat is really good. It's you could call this a poor man's Das Boot, but it's still incredible. 28, The Town, 7.5 IMDb. Doug McRae, Ben Affleck, leads a band of ruthless bank robbers and has no real attachments except for James, Jeremy Renner, who despite his dangerous temper is like a brother. Everything changes for Doug when James briefly takes a hostage bank employee, Claire Kesey. It's really good. It's got an authentic atmosphere, Boston, you know, Ben Affleck with the Boston accent. I think it's been a while since I've seen it. I think Renner's got an accent as well, and it's just dramatic movie, great action, phenomenal movie. 127, Jaws, 8.1. When a young woman is killed by a shark while skinny dipping near the New England tourist town of Amity Island, Police Chief Martin Brody wants to close the beaches, but Mayor Larry Vaughn overrules him, fearing that the loss of tourist revenue will cripple the town. Shark expert Matt Hooper and grizzled ship captain Quint offer to help Brody capture the beast, and the trio engage in an epic battle of man versus nature. I really don't need to talk this movie up. It stands on its own, obviously. It's got the iconic score from John Williams. Incredibly suspenseful. 126, Whiplash, 8.5 IMDb. Andrew Neiman, Miles Teller, is an ambitious young jazz drummer in pursuit of rising to the top of his elite music conservatory. Terrence Fletcher, J.K. Simmons, an instructor known for his terrifying teaching methods, discovers Andrew and transfers the aspiring drummer into the top jazz ensemble, forever changing the young man's life. But Andrew's passion to achieve perfection quickly spirals into obsession as his ruthless teacher pushes him to the brink of his ability and his sanity. I don't know how to explain how this movie is so good, but it's easily one of the best movies ever made about competition. It may not technically be a sport, but just about competition. It's just, yeah, just watch it. 125, I Did Lie to You, My Bad. Meet Joe Black, 7.2 IMDb. I mean, it's kind of a romance, but Bill Parrish, Anthony Hopkins, businessman and devoted family man, is about to celebrate his 65th birthday. However, before he reaches that landmark, he is visited by Death, Brad Pitt, who has taken human form as Joe Black, a young man who recently died. I think this movie is impossible to explain without giving it away. I mean, I could just say it's just a deep look at life and death. 124, The Lincoln Lawyer, 7.3 IMDb. Mick Haller, Matthew McConaughey, is a charismatic defense attorney who does business out of his Lincoln Continental sedan. Mick spends most of his time defending petty crooks and other bottom feeders, so it comes as quite a surprise when he lands the case of a lifetime, defending a Beverly Hills playboy, Ryan Phillippe, who is accused of attempted murder. However, what Mick initially thinks is an open and shut case with a big monetary reward develops into something more sinister. Remember, I kind of told you the tiebreaker on a lot of these movies is just the actor, you know, an A-list actor. In terms of a like a legal thriller, this is one of the best ones there is. 123, The Hangover, 7.7 IMDb. 2 days before his wedding, Doug, Justin Bartha, and 3 friends, Bradley Cooper, Ed Helms, Zach G., drive to Las Vegas for a wild and memorable stag party. In fact, when the 3 groomsmen wake up the next morning, they can't remember a thing, nor can they find Doug. With little time to spare, the 3 hazy pals try to retrace their steps and find Doug so they can get him back to Los Angeles in time to walk down the aisle. So we know Bradley Cooper's going to be funny, Zach G's going to be funny, but Ed Helms also being really funny, I mean, that helps make the movies kind of legendary. Coming in at 122, For a Few Dollars More, one of the 3 movies Sergio Leone directed with Clint Eastwood. 8.2 IMDb. In the Wild Wild West, a murderous outlaw known as El Indio and his gang are terrorizing and robbing the citizens of the region. With a bounty on El Indio's head, two bounty hunters, Monco, Clint Eastwood, and Colonel Douglas Mortimer, come to collect the prize. Upon their first meeting, the two men view each other as rivals, but they eventually agree to become partners in their mutual pursuit of the vicious criminal. So I think this is almost as good as The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, but let me read a little bit for you. It's considered a great film for its engaging narrative, strong performances, iconic score, and stylish direction by Sergio Leone. It's praised for its innovative cinematography, memorable set pieces, and its significant contribution to the Western genre. Okay, 121, we got Bad Santa, 7 IMDb. In this dark comedy, the crotchety William T. Stokes, Billy Bob Thornton, and his partner Tony Cox reunite once a year for a holiday con. Posing as a mall Santa and his elf, they rip off shopping outlets on Christmas Eve. This year, however, Willie is falling apart. He's depressed and alcoholic, and his erratic behavior draws the suspicion of mall security Bernie Mac. But when befriending a small boy brings out his kinder side, Willie begins to wonder if there is still some hope for him. So it's darker humor for sure. I'm not going to try to talk you into this being a phenomenal movie, but the comedies are hard to make, and I think this is an all-time great holiday comedy movie. Okay, 120, Concussion, 7.1 IMDb. While conducting an autopsy on former NFL football player Mike Webster, David Morse, forensic pathologist Dr. Bennett Omalu, Will Smith, discovers neurological deterioration that is similar to Alzheimer's disease. Omalu names the disorder chronic traumatic encephalopathy and publishes his findings in a medical journal. As other athletes face the same diagnosis, the crusading doctor embarks on a mission to raise public awareness about the dangers of football-related head trauma. Concussion is based on a true story. Dr. Omalu basically went head-to-head with the NFL. The movie brought the issue of CTE and its connection to football into the mainstream, leading to increased public awareness, rule changes in the NFL, and ongoing research into brain injuries in sports. Makes you wonder, what if Omalu never came along? What if we were in the year 2025 and it just still no concussion protocol? That would be pretty crazy. That would be hard to believe, but you never know. Okay, 119, Boys in the Hood, 7.8 IMDb. Trey is sent to live with his father, Furious Styles, in tough South Central Los Angeles. Although his hard-nosed father instills proper values and respect in him, and his devout girlfriend, Brandy, teaches him about faith, Trey's friends, Doughboy and Ricky, don't have the same kind of support and are drawn into the neighborhood's booming drug and gang culture with increasingly tragic results. So the three main characters' personalities just jump off of the screen, obviously due to great acting, and it kind of helps you understand the culture there at the time. It's incredible. 118, The Big Short, 7.8 IMDb. In 2008 Wall Street Guru, Michael Burry realizes that a number of subprime home loans are in danger of defaulting. Burry bets against the housing market by throwing more than $1 billion of his investors' money into credit default swaps. His actions attract the attention of banker Jared Vennett, Ryan Gosling, hedge fund specialist Mark Baum, Steve Carell, and other greedy opportunists. Christian Bale plays Michael Burry. Obviously, these people are betting against the 2008 subprime home loan crisis. You're going to have to watch the movie to see if they lose everything or make a lot of money. It's great movie though. Okay, 117, Snatch, 8.2 IMDb. Guy Ritchie film. Illegal boxing promoter Turkish Jason Statham convinces gangster Bricktop Alan Ford to offer bets on bare-knuckle boxer Mickey Brad Pitt at his bookie business. When Mickey does not throw his first fight as agreed, an infuriated Bricktop demands another match. Meanwhile, gangster Frankie Four Fingers Benicio del Toro comes to place a bet for a friend with Bricktop's bookies as multiple criminals converge on a stolen diamond that Frankie has come to London to sell. I know some people are going to want it higher than the 117, but it's just, I think it's such a good movie. I've only really seen it once, but like the way the two stories come together, it's just a little bit too much like in your face, just compared to some of the other like classic, what do you call those movies? Yeah, the hyperlink cinema, that's what this movie's using. It's really good. Just not quite as good as some of the others that use it. 116 Amistad, 7.3 IMDb. In 1839, the slave ship Amistad set sail from Cuba to America. During the long trip, Cinque leads the slaves in an unprecedented uprising. They are then held prisoner in Connecticut, and their release becomes a subject of heated debate. Freed slave Theodore Jodson, Morgan Freeman, wants Cinque and the others exonerated and recruits property lawyer Roger Baldwin, Matthew McConaughey, to help his case. Eventually, John Quincy Adams, Anthony Hopkins, also becomes an ally. Why is this so good? You have Spielberg, Hopkins, McConaughey, Jimon Hansu, and unbelievable courtroom drama. Okay, 115, The Sisters Brothers, only 6.9 IMDb. It's 1851, and Charlie and Eli sisters are both brothers and assassins, boys grown to men in a savage and hostile world. The Sisters Brothers find themselves on a journey through the Northwest, bringing them to the mountains of Oregon, a dangerous brothel in the small town of Mayfield, and eventually the gold rush land of California, an adventure that tests the deadly family ties that bind. By the way, this movie has Joaquin Phoenix, John C. Reilly, Jake Gyllenhaal. Incredible acting. It's got, they're looking for gold, and there's all kinds of stuff going on in the movie. This is how you do a Western movie. 114, Gattaca, 7.7 IMDb. Vincent Freeman, Ethan Hawke, has always fantasized about traveling into outer space, but is grounded by his status as a genetically inferior invalid. He decides to fight his fate by purchasing the genes of Jerome Morrow, Jude Law, a laboratory-engineered valid. He assumes Jerome's DNA identity and joins the Gattaca space program, where he falls in love with Irene Uma Thurman. An investigation into the death of a Gattaca officer, Gore Vidal, complicates Vincent's plans. One of the best sci-fis ever made, with also one of the most iconic scenes in cinematic history. At 113, we have Troy, 7.3 IMDb. While visiting Spartan king Menelaus, Trojan prince Paris falls for Menelaus' wife Helen and takes her back to Troy. Menelaus' brother, King Agamemnon, having already defeated every army in Greece, uses his brother's fury as a pretext to declare war against Troy, the last kingdom, preventing his control over the Aegean Sea. Kind of like Schwarzenegger playing Conan, Brad Pitt playing Achilles. Don't overcomplicate what's a good movie. The individual battles are incredible. The big battles, not as good as some other movies, but still a really good movie. 112, Come and See, 1985 war movie, 8.3 IMDb. The invasion of a village in Byelorussia by German forces sends young Floria into the forest to join the weary resistance fighters against his family's wishes. There he meets a girl, Glasha, who accompanies him back to his village. On returning home, Floria finds his family and fellow peasants massacred. His continued survival amidst the brutal debris of war becomes increasingly nightmarish, a battle between despair and hope. Beyond that, what an existential battle for survival. By the way, this movie is free on YouTube. Check it out. At 111, Top Gun Maverick, 8.2 IMDb. After more than 30 years of service as one of the Navy's top aviators, Pete Maverick Mitchell is where he belongs, pushing the envelope as a courageous test pilot and dodging the advancement in rank that would ground him. Training a detachment of graduates for a special assignment, Maverick must confront the ghost of his past and his deepest fears, culminating in a mission that demands the ultimate sacrifice from those who choose to fly it. I don't think anybody thinks Top Gun Maverick was a bad movie. Really good story, unbelievable visuals, and a cool mission. Okay, number 110, Eyes Wide Shut, 7.5 IMDb. This is Tom Cruise, Nicole Kidman movie. After Bill Hartford's wife, Alice, admits to having sexual fantasies about a man she met, Bill becomes obsessed with having a sexual encounter. He discovers an underground sexual group and attends one of their meetings, and quickly discovers that he is in over his head. I could spend an hour trying to figure out how to describe this movie to you. I'll try to freestyle. Basically about secret societies. Cruise's character is more desperate, so he's he's looking for that more. Kidman's character is looking for something more, but not in such a desperate way. Coming in at 109, Wall Street, 7.3 IMDb. On the Wall Street of the 1980s, Bud Fox, Charlie Sheen, is a stockbroker full of ambition, doing whatever he can to make his way to the top. Admiring the power of the unsparing corporate raider Gordon Gekko, Fox entices Gekko into mentoring him by providing insider trading. As Fox becomes embroiled in greed and underhanded schemes, his decisions eventually threaten the livelihood of his scrupulous father, Martin Sheen. Faced with this dilemma, Fox questions his loyalties. This movie's got everything. The Greed is Good speech by Michael Douglas, Frank Sinatra at the beginning of the movie, real trading on the New York Stock Exchange. The movie has incredible acting. It has everything. Coming in at 108, First Man, 7.3 IMDb. Hoping to reach the moon by the end of the decade, NASA plans a series of extremely dangerous, unprecedented missions in the early 1960s. Engineer Neil Armstrong joins the space program, spending years in training and risking his life during test flights. On July 16, 1969, the nation and the world watch and wonder as Armstrong and fellow astronauts Buzz Aldrin and Michael Collins embark on the historic Apollo 11 space flight. Here's a little bit of a spoiler. You might want to skip a little bit. It's not gonna be too much of one. But the movie does a very good job of showing the inherent dangers of being an astronaut. It shows the depiction of the Apollo 1 fire, the Gemini 8 mission. There's a problem with that. Lunar landing, training vehicle accident, challenges of the moon landing, psychological toll on the astronauts and their families. It's incredible. 107, Interview with the Vampire, 7.5 IMDb with Pitt and Cruz. Born as an 18th century lord, Lewis is now a bicentennial vampire telling his story to an eager biographer. Suicidal after the death of his family, he meets Lestat, a vampire who persuades him to choose immortality over death and become his companion. Eventually, gentle Lewis resolves to leave his violent maker, but Lestat guilts him into staying by turning a young girl whose addition to the family breeds even more conflict. Okay, I don't like horror movies, but if there was such a thing as vampires, you would think that it would kind of be like this movie. I think that's why it's so good. 106, we have The Ballad of Buster Scruggs, 7.2 IMDb, Netflix movie made by the Coen brothers. This movie's a little bit different. It's an anthology containing 6 short films, all occurring in 19th century post-Civil War America during the settling of the Old West. I might have rated it a little bit too high, but you know how I was saying sports movies and comedies are the hardest movies to make? I would say probably Westerns is after that. And 4 of these stories are really good, and 5 are pretty good. Pretty dang good. So it's really good. So, you could make an argument all 6 of them are good, but it's good. Okay, 105, Fury, 7.6 IMDb. In April 1945, the Allies are making their final push into the European theater. A battle-hardened army sergeant named Don War Daddy Collier, leading a Sherman tank and a 5-man crew, undertakes a deadly mission behind enemy lines. Hopelessly outnumbered, outgunned, and saddled with an inexperienced soldier in their midst, War Daddy and his men face overwhelming odds as they move to strike at the heart of Nazi Germany. David Ayer, the director, used the last operational Tiger 1 tank to add to the realism. The movie shows you how claustrophobic it really is in a tank. Brad Pitt, John Bernthal, Shia LaBeouf. Yep, great movie. Coming in at 104, K-Pax, 7.4 IMDb. Tells the story of a mysterious patient, Kevin Spacey, at a mental hospital who claims to be from a distant planet called K-Pax. As a psychiatrist, Jeff Bridges tries to figure out exactly how to help the patient. He gradually begins to realize that the so-called alien is having a remarkable effect on the mental health of the hospital's other patients. Okay, bro, dudette, whoever, watch this movie if you haven't seen it. It's one of the best freaking movies ever made. 103, World War Z, 103, World War Z, 7.0 IMDb. When former UN investigator Jerry Lane, Brad Pitt, and his family get stuck in urban gridlock, he senses that it's no ordinary traffic jam. His suspicions are confirmed when suddenly the city erupts into chaos. A lethal virus spread through a single bite is turning healthy people into something vicious, unthinking, and feral. As the pandemic threatens to consume humanity, Jerry leads a worldwide search to find the source of the infection and, with luck, a way to halt its spread. Pitt's in the best tank movie. He's in the best zombie movie. In this movie, the outbreak's on a global scale. It's not localized. The zombies have crazy speed. I think it sets it apart with the acting. 102, American Gangster, 7.8 IMDb. Harlem drug dealer Frank Lucas rises to power in corrupt 1970s New York, equaling and surpassing the notorious mafia families with the reach of his empire. On the other side of the law, honest cop Richie Roberts dedicates himself to taking down the most dangerous man walking the streets. Okay, so this movie has Denzel and Russell Crowe. It's been a while since I've seen it. It is about 3 hours. The movie's based on a true story, obviously, but I'm a little worried I put this about 20-30 slots too high. But I'm okay. I'm okay with it here. A lot of people love this movie. Okay, last movie of the day, number 101, Sicario, 7.7 IMDb. After rising through the ranks of her male-dominated profession, idealistic FBI agent Kate Macer receives a top assignment, recruited by mysterious government official Matt Graver. Kate joins a task force for the escalating war against drugs, led by the intense and shadowy Alejandro. The team travels back and forth across the U.S.-Mexican border using one cartel boss to flush out a bigger one. Man, Benicio is so cold in this movie, straight up. That's about all I can say. It's a really good movie. Well, here we are with 100 left. I thought at this point I'd be able to see the finish line. I can almost see the finish line. It took me all day just to do 50 movies, but the good news is probably at most 2 full days left. I might take a day or 2 off. But I've done 600 movies in 7 days. We'll talk to you later.